Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports.
And welcome, everybody, to FanStream Sports, powered by DSP Media. This is the Fighting Irish Daily Blitz, and I'm your host, Rob Fidoff, also known as RPT. You can find me on Twitter at PFidoff. So for episode 58 today, this is just going to be a quick instant reaction analysis for news that broke right before the Super Bowl started. So this would have been bigger news, especially among Notre Dame faithful. It'll be bigger news tomorrow after all the Super Bowl stuff has settled down. But as of around 6:15, 6:30 tonight, it may have been sooner, but that's when I heard about it. Offensive line coach Harry Hiestand is stepping down at Notre Dame as the offensive line coach, and he is retiring. So here's just from the Notre Dame website. I'll just read you some snippets here. Harry Hiestand, a 40-year collegiate coaching veteran who returned to Notre Dame in 2022 for a second time as the Joe Moore offensive line coach, has announced his retirement from coaching. And this is from Coach Hiestand. I've made a decision to retire. It is important to me to spend time with my family as I have two kids competing in college athletics. One for his last season, and I've decided it is time for me to be a part of that. I'm thankful for the opportunity from Father Jenkins, Jack Swarbrick, and especially Coach Freeman, who gave me the chance to return for a seventh season coaching the offensive line at Notre Dame. So that seventh season, he was at Notre Dame from 2012 to 2017. Then he left to coach for the Bears. That didn't work out. And then he came back to Notre Dame this year. Our offensive line in 2021 was absolutely garbage. The coach, Jeff Quinn, he's a great guy, but he just can't coach the offensive line. And when I first heard this news, I was kind of bummed because this season it's just been kind of up and down. We got Sam Hartman as the quarterback from Wake Forest, the all-time ACC quarterback leader, pretty much in all of the statistics. But we lost Tommy Rees last week. James Laurinaitis went back to Ohio State. And now Coach Hiestand's leaving. It's just been a domino effect of kind of a rough off season so far, especially with the coaches. But the more I look on this, yes, he did turn around the offensive line last year, but who really couldn't? I'm not an offensive line coach, but that line was so bad and was such a bad coach with Jeff Quinn. I think anyone with a competent brain for coaching the offensive line could have done a better job last year. And that's not to take away from what Coach Hiestand did, but I think we're going to be okay with this, especially if they go with Chris Watt. He played at Notre Dame, and he's the assistant offensive line coach for Notre Dame. I think that would be a smooth transition to hire him. I have not heard anything else about who they're looking at, but for me, Chris Watt would be a great smooth transition to become the offensive line coach. He's a pretty young kid. I don't even think he's 30 years old yet, but that would be my suggestion. We'll see what Coach Freeman does there. And I know Harry Hiestand said he's retiring to spend more time with family. I think that's partially true, but a lot of insiders on the Notre Dame front that get a lot of inside news, I'm hearing that once Tommy Rees left, Coach Hiestand did not want to break in a new offensive coach, and he just didn't want to stick around to see who that coach would be. To me, I would at least stuck around to see who that coach was to see if I could work with them. But he's got his own prerogative. So good luck to you in retirement if you are truly going to retire. But I think we're going to be okay with this. But here's the key. Right now, Notre Dame's leading candidate from all the reports I'm hearing is the Utah offensive coordinator, Andy Ludwig. This would be a home run hire if they get Andy Ludwig. Anywhere he's gone, the offense has just skyrocketed from their previous years where they were just more or less lacking in offensive production. He's going to be 59 years in May, so he's not a young guy. But to me, 59, when you have coaches still coaching in their 70s, to me, that's still pretty young. But having said that, 59 is not, 30 years old like Tommy Rees. I think if he would come to Notre Dame, this is probably his last job. I don't think he's going to come to Notre Dame for a couple years. Let's say he has this offense cooking. I don't think he wants to be a head coach anywhere. He's 59 years old. I think this would be his destination job. His final job in college athletics would be at Notre Dame to be the offensive coordinator. And he's taken a Utah team And let's just put it bluntly, Utah does not get the athletes that Notre Dame does. I know Notre Dame didn't have the greatest offense this year, but they have much better athletes than what Utah has now. He has a he has a decent quarterback at Utah, but he's not who's the quarterback last year that won the high. He's not a Caleb Williams type, is what I'm trying to say. But with what he had at Utah, he uses many different sets, and he has that offense very productive, is what I'm trying to say. And since he's been at Utah, the offense has done fairly well. And if he's coming to Notre Dame with a lot better athletes, I think he can even become even a better offensive coordinator. And the thing is, too, he has pretty much schooled USC. I mean, that's our big rival. And they were, this close to making the college football playoff, but they couldn't beat Utah twice last year. They lost to Utah in the regular season, and their offense pretty much controlled USC, even though USC doesn't have the greatest defense, but they do have decent athletes. We couldn't, we did move the ball at times against them this year with Drew Pine, of all people, but he pretty much schooled them in the Pac-12 championship when USC was dominating that game, but he had a great game plan, and eventually he just wore down that defense. So what I'm trying to say is he has been a pain in USC's side the last couple years. And if we get Andy Ludwig, I'm telling you, that's just going to be even, I think, kind of a snowball effect to have whether it's going to be Chris Watt or whoever. I think that's a great starting point to get a sorry, I had a brain lapse there. I'm trying to get this done as soon as possible, but I think that's just a snowball effect into getting the proper offensive staff for him to pretty much turn around this offense and make it a productive offense to compete for the playoffs and a national title. So thank you so much for joining. Hopefully we have news this week of a new offensive coordinator. And then I'll also have about the women. They did win today over Syracuse, a tough, hard-fought win. They went 2-0 this week. But as of right now, I just wanted to give you the breaking news. Harry Hiestand has left Notre Dame to retire. And hopefully Andy Ludwig, he may not join Notre Dame, but that's the hot news right now, that Notre Dame is really throwing out the red carpet for Andy Ludwig to leave Utah and come to Notre Dame. And I think that's a home run hire right there. So thank you so much for joining me for episode 58. And as always, go Irish.